Well, welcome to Rob's Fix-It Shop. Today in the shop I've got this NOCO GB40 car starter, and the USB charging port is belly up on it. It looks like it's pushed in, and so what I want to do is I just want to open it up, see if I can fix that, and it might be kind of interesting to just kind of see what's inside one of these guys and see what makes it tick. So if you're interested, just hang on. It should be an interesting ride. All right, so it looks like the charge on this is pretty low, which is good. These can be a little bit hazardous, I guess, to work on because there's so much power built up in there. But so the screws in here are kind of a triangular deal, and so I bought myself a set of triangular heads. Let's see. Oh, they're kind of magnetized. Yeah, see that? Yep, and then this. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah. And look at this. It's all, I don't know if you can see it, but somebody must have been using this, and I don't recall it being me, although it's possible. But it must have fell in and one of the pulleys hit it or something. So it's had a tough going there. So, all right. That's bad. Yeah, so that just broke that screw right off. Like I said, I kind of like, like I said, I kind of like these guys. It does make it awfully convenient to get stuff up and running right away. Always seems like those lawnmower batteries always seem perpetually dead, and this thing works great for that. Okay, so now what? Wow. Yeah, that looks like a mess in there. Looks like there's been water in there. Yeah. Interesting. And wow. Okay, so the USB is completely knocked off right there. And let's get this out. Okay, what's holding this in? Okay, so just some tape holding that battery pack in. And then let's move that. Oh, we should be able to. So there's two little connectors down here. It looks like just press down there and lift, and then here. Press and lift, and then for these, I don't know. Those look like they're going to stay there. Huh, interesting. So, oh, those come right out. Okay, and then, well, that's funky. So the only thing, all right. Okay, and then we just lift that out. Looks good. Okay, so let's take a look at that. That's quite a lot there. Looks like here's our little buck converters for the USB. Not exactly sure. It looks a little rough how this stuff's soldered in, but yeah. But this looks well done. Looks pretty nice. Lot there. Kind of surprises me that there's so much there. So let's get back to what we're thinking about. So it looks like this this USB thing might actually just even come off. No, nope, they're soldered in. Looks like the USB is just kind of soldered on the pads here, and then it's got it's soldered onto the pins there. And then if you look, it looks like it just pulled away. It pulled away from the board. Hold on, let me get that in my hand. So it just pulled away from the board, and yeah, and so I don't know, I guess I could epoxy those down if I wanted to glue that into place. Because it looks like these pads are pretty good. I'm going to look at them a little closer, but it might be that I could buy this as well. That might be a smarter way to do it, is just buy this all together. But man, that just does not seem like a good design, that there's no through hole. Usually on a USB connector like that, there's a through hole there, but not going to happen here. So yeah, so I don't know. So there's two routes here. I guess I could glue that down or resolder these guys, and then just epoxy these two things down. That might work better than just trying to solder in a new thing there. And then let me look to see if I can find this part. I might be able to just buy that and see if maybe they've done an improvement to it. We'll see. All right, let's start by just kind of cleaning off those pads. Put a little flux on them. Let's get a little solder wick here. Yeah, so the pads look pretty good. They look really good. And then over here, these look good too. So I'm gonna see if I can just take this off here. Yeah, so I'm going to take this off, and then I'm just going to try to glue it on there with... Okay, that's off. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that both those tabs are kind of parallel. I want it to sit nice. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to clean it off with a little alcohol. Okay, so then I'm going to use a little solder. It's kind of a paste with solder in it. All right, so I spread that. So it's just a kind of a soldering paste with solder in it. And then I kind of like to use it, but you could also use more traditional methods. Okay. Let me get my heat gun. Okay, so I took a close look, and that wasn't quite enough. So I'm going to go over it with a little more solder, put a little flux on there. I think if I'd used a little bit more, it would have worked, but that's okay. Okay, that looks a little better. Okay, so that looks a lot better. And I think they were probably holding before, but I just wanted to make sure. So let's clean that up. Okay, so that looks good. So now I want to, I'm just going to glue that on because there's nowhere to solder on, right? The pads have just been completely removed, and I actually think that gluing it on there, putting a little epoxy on there, is going to be better than it was. So I don't know. I think that I got pretty lucky that the pads weren't torn off on the USB part. If the whole thing, I looked a little bit, I didn't see a replacement part, but if you couldn't find a replacement part for that whole kind of a assembly there, I wonder if what you could do is just kind of, it doesn't look like there's any active electronics on there. I wonder if you could just get like a female USB plug and just solder the ends of the wire, just cut the wire and solder it in there and have it come out about that far from the charger. I mean, that might be a pretty reasonable way to do it as well. Of course, you could always like repair the traces and stuff like that, but all right. And I could have put some underneath the tabs, but I was a little worried about doing that in case I had to pull it off and then I'd have all that gross glue all over. All right, so got that glue on there. I'm just going to leave it till tomorrow and come back and we'll figure out if it's going to work for us. Oh, and here's that screw I broke off. I can pull that out while I'm here. But yeah, we'll come back tomorrow. Take a look. Okay, so it looks like the glue has hardened and looks pretty good. And so I've just got my continuity tester here. And I just marked this connector here. So here's plus. Check that. And here it has a plus here. Right? And then no continuity to the ground. If I go over to ground here, it's good there. And then if I check from ground to okay, none of those pins, and then from positive to any of those. So it looks good. So yeah, so one thing here that I also kind of note is that let's say you had tore off some of the traces on here. I think you could probably just get like a USB cord extender, and I think all you have to do is cut the wire and then solder plus and minus to here and here, and then have that kind of like pigtail come out that had this kind of an end. And I mean, that's one way you could fix it, I think. I didn't find any replacements for that. If anybody knows of one, they might want to comment below. But yeah, so I think it's going to work, and it feels pretty solid on there. And of course, time will tell with that, but at least I can use it again. And yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's funny, it doesn't look like that big a battery pack to start a car with, but it sure does. I mean, I've started my truck, which has a 360 in it, with this guy, and it looks like some water's gotten in there. I can clean that off with a little alcohol, but yeah, this stuff's they use a lot of solder. I'd hate to have to unsolder this thing, right? Let's see. And then, so with these MOSFETs, I think these MOSFETs are here just to keep that if you hook that backwards, the current from flowing back. And I think they don't use diodes because I think the diodes have too large a drop. And I think when you use MOSFETs like that, you don't have that drop. So I don't know. Like I say, I'm not an electrical engineer. Somebody else might be able to answer that. But let's get it all together. Okay. So it looks like these little pins are held in place by this. So I think you just have to get them up like that. And then plug that in. Plug that in. Move my battery into place, and then this should fit right in. Wow. Okay. And we got to make sure that that's in all the way. That's in all the way. All right, well, let's give it a try. I've got USB cable here. And looks good. All right, so yeah, it looks good. It looks like it's charging. And I think my little battery start or car starter is back to life, and I'm glad to see it. And I don't know, it looked like a pretty well-built piece of machinery, except for that port, which seemed like kind of a sketchy board. So anyway, well, that's it for Rob's Fix-It Shop. Taking a look at this NOCO GB40 Genius Boost. Looked like it looked like everything was kind of well built in there, except for this one port here, which seemed kind of sketchy. And you know, I think there's a number of ways to fix that. I got kind of lucky that the pads were still in good condition, but I think that glue is going to hold pretty good, hold that thing in place. If not, then I think what you could do is you could go in there and just solder a little USB jumper and have it come out, and then you could just kind of plug that in, right? Maybe even just solder on a big connector like that. I don't know. Figure out some way, because you would hate to waste this, because they're not that cheap. So anyways, it was kind of fun to open it up and just see what was inside. And you know, if you liked it, please hit like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.